The Invention of Shoes.
This is a play. You should try to stage it in class. Scene 1. The King's Court. This happened a long time ago during the rule of King Hobu. Shoes were not invented and people walked around barefoot. No one minded their feet getting dirty. But you can't expect the king of the country to have dirty feet, can you? So one day in the king's court.
Minister Gobu, I could not sleep all night. Why, Your Majesty? I was thinking, how is it that whenever I put my feet in the street, they become dirty? I walk a few feet and my feet are full of dust. But that happens to all of us, Your Majesty. What can we do? We can't remove all the dust from all the streets.
What? You say you can't help me?
Minister Gobu, I pay you to serve me, to solve my problems. Yes, but this is a plot. This is a trick to soil me with my own soil. I won't have it. Find a way to keep my feet clean when I walk. Find it, or all of you will be sent out of my kingdom.
Everyone leaves, trembling in fear. Scene 2. The minister's home. That evening, the pundits of the country meet at the minister's house. They have to find a solution, or else they lose their jobs. Let's listen to their conversation.
Minister Gobu, what do we do now? How do we solve this?
Do you think we can wash the streets every day before the king goes for his walk?
That will not help. The dust will become mud and stick to the king's feet some more. What happens when it rains?
Shall we cover all the streets with cloth?
What? Then there will be no cloth left for us to make dresses with. What if the thieves take the cloth away at night?
True. What do we tell the king? I don't know. We will think about it tonight. Let us not lose our sleep over it. Good night, friends. There sure will be some answer.
Scene 3. The King's Court. People have assembled in large numbers in the court today. I'm sure they're as eager as the king to know the answer to the king's problem. But the minister and the pundits look tired and frightened. It looks like they have no answer. Let's find out.
Where is the minister?
Minister comes running and falls at the king's feet.
Your Majesty, how can we remove the dust from the streets?
The dust you walk on is pure. It is holy. People worship it in your name. We need the dust.
That is true.
But we need an answer to it. How do I walk in the streets without soiling my feet?
We have to think some more, Your Majesty.
You mean you can't tackle this problem? All right. Let us call our wise men. They may have an answer.
Call the wise men.
Soldiers run out. They bring 2 wise men.
You wise men, I don't want my feet soiled when I walk in the streets. Can you tell me how I can do that?
Scratches his head. Your Majesty, if you remove the dust and mud, how will you grow crops? Without food, we will all die.
You are the wise man. Don't you have another answer?
Your Majesty, why don't we buy 1,000 brooms and sweep the dust off the streets?
Oh no. The dust will rise and the king won't be able to breathe. Everything around us, the castle, the temple, the cows, all will have a thick coat of dust. The sun will disappear.
Uh-oh. Instead of removing the dust, you wise men are trying to add it.
Your Majesty, there is only one thing to do. Why don't you stay in your room and not come out at all? Your feet will always be clean.
Yes, that's a good idea. But how will I know what's happening in the country? It won't work. Is there no one who can solve this problem? Is there no good idea?
A poor man comes forward. It is getting interesting. The minister has no answer. The pundits have no answer. The wise men cannot solve the problem. How is this poor man going to help the king?
Your Majesty, if you will allow me.
Do you know what to do?
Yes, Your Majesty. I think I can solve your problem.
Really? You can solve the problem my pundits and wise men cannot?
Yes.
You foolish man. Is it so easy? If you lie, I shall put you in prison.
Your Majesty,
I have the right things to keep your feet clean when you walk. They are right here in my bag. Will you please put out your feet?
What are you going to do?
Just this. Your Majesty, please push your feet into these things called shoes, and then get up and walk.
Hey, they fit me well. They are comfortable. And now my feet are not soiled. Minister Gobu, see, this is the answer. Just covering my feet. Poor man, you need not be poor anymore. Make shoes for all the people, and here is my reward to you. We will now call you the cobbler.
The Invention of Shoes. Once upon a time there was King Hobu. During his rule, shoes were not invented and people walked around barefoot. The king said to the minister that how was it that whenever he put his feet in the street, they become dirty. He walked a few feet and his feet were full of dust. The minister replied that it happened to all of them and they can't remove all the dust from all the streets. The king got angry and told Minister Gobu that he paid him to serve him and to solve his problems. The king ordered him to find a solution to keep his feet clean when he walked. Pandit 1 asked Minister Gobu, what do they do now? Minister Gobu wondered how to solve the problem. Pandit 2 suggested whether they could wash the streets every day before the king went for his walk. But the minister replied, that will not help. The dust will become mud and stick to the king's feet some more. Pandit 3 suggested whether they could cover all the streets with cloth. Minister replied that there'll be no cloth left for them to make dresses with. He said that they will think about the solution tonight. The minister told the king that they have to think some more. On hearing this, the king ordered that the wise men be called to give an answer. The king asked the wise men how we can walk on the streets without soiling his feet. Wise man 1 said to the king that crops will not grow if the dust and mud were removed. Without food, they will all die. Wise man 2 suggested to buy 1,000 brooms and to sweep the dust off the streets. At this, the minister intervened and said that the dust will rise and the king won't be able to breathe. Everything around him, the castle, the temple, the cows, all will have a thick coat of dust. The sun will disappear. The wise man 2 then told the king to stay in his room and not to come out at all. In this way, his feet will always be clean. The poor man told the king that he could solve his problem. He requested the king to push his feet into these things, called shoes, and then to walk. The king wore the shoes and found them comfortable. He told the poor man to make shoes for everyone, and henceforth he will be called cobbler.